Ariadne left her 2 daughters in my care and ran off with her lover. Sure, I can't say I'm completely blameless in all this, but isn't there such a thing as maternal instinct? That's supposed to be unshakable. I get it. People replace one partner with another all the time, but kids. Your own flesh and blood? That's something else entirely. Ariadne and I first crossed paths when we were both 17 years old. She lived with her parents in a house where strict discipline reigned. Every day she was expected to cook, clean and study, as if her life depended on it. She dreamed of breaking out of this suffocating routine. One evening, thanks to some clever trick, she managed to sneak off to a disco with her friends. That's where we met. Since then, we've been dating in secret. After high school, Reda made a bold move. She stood up to her parents and declared, "That's it. I've had enough. I'm leaving, and I'm moving in with Samuel." Our mother, predictably, flew into a frenzy. Ungrateful wretch. We fed you, clothed you, cared for you, and now you want to abandon us for some lowlife. We found a rented place and started building a life together. A year later, we got married, although it wasn't as joyful a celebration as some might imagine. Her parents refused to accept her decision, so there was no wedding, just a quiet trip to the registry office. Ariadne worked as a nurse in a hospital, and I got a job as a boiler room operator. 2 years after the wedding, our first daughter was born. Ariadne has shown herself to be a devoted and loving mother. 8 years later, our second daughter was born. My work in the boiler room was simple and did not require much effort. Because I had so much free time during shifts, I foolishly found solace in a bottle, and that's where it all went wrong. My wife put up with it for a while, but one of her so-called friends, Amelia, started whispering in her ear, "Ariadne, why mess with this drunk? There are many decent men in the world." Ariadne, however, hesitated to take such a drastic step. "Amelia, come on. I've got 2 kids. Who'd want me? Oh, please. Having kids has never stopped anyone from finding happiness." As time went on, things took a turn. I developed diabetes, and that forced me to quit drinking for good. By then, though, the cracks in our relationship had deepened. Intimacy was a thing of the past. Meanwhile, Amelia kept stoking the flames. "You're still young and full of life. Think about yourself. Samuel's a lost cause. Look, my cousin just got divorced. Why not meet him? If it doesn't work out, no big deal." In the end, Ariadne gave up. Carter, Amelia's cousin, made a strong impression on her. At first, their meetings were kept secret, but soon he began to pressure her to divorce and make everything official. However, he was not thrilled that her children were in the photo. "Honey, they're old enough now. Let them stay with their father." "Carter, Luna has just entered the university, and Sophia is only in the 2nd grade. How could I leave them?" "Honey, they'll understand. A mother deserves her happiness too. Trust me, everything will work out." Eventually, Ariadne dropped the bombshell. She wanted to leave. I was floored, clueless about how I'd managed to raise our daughters on my own. "Do you realize I can't do this alone? Raising girls is completely different. If they were boys, maybe, but she wouldn't budge. You'll manage. You've always had me around to lean on. Now it's your turn to step into my shoes." The eldest daughter took the news that her mother had left the family with an outward calmness that hid her true feelings. What about little Sophia? She cried her eyes out for several days. Ariadne promised that she would continue to participate in her daughters' lives, but reality painted a completely different picture. Her new husband had a solid income, enough for Ariadne to quit her job at the hospital. They were always off somewhere, traveling, exploring, enjoying life. As a result, there was little room in her schedule for the children she left behind. After my father-in-law passed away, my mother, Riley, realized that in her old age, grandchildren would be her only source of support. She moved in with us, helping out in every way she could, cooking meals and tutoring the youngest with her homework. Meanwhile, Carter, Ariadne's new partner, had a teenage son, Thomas, from his previous marriage. But for Carter, only his own needs mattered. He barely acknowledged Thomas and dodged alimony by working under the table. Understandably, Thomas harbored a deep resentment toward his father. For months, he nursed thoughts of revenge until, one day, he decided to act on them. Ariadne and Carter had just returned from yet another overseas trip. They were sleeping soundly in their apartment when the doorbell rang. Carter groggily answered the door, only to be ambushed by a group of teenagers. The commotion woke Ariadne, who came out to investigate, only to be attacked herself. Things escalated far beyond what anyone intended. In the chaos, Carter hit his head on a closet and died instantly. Ariadne, though she survived, suffered severe injuries and now resides in a hospice. Thomas remained on the run, and his future remained uncertain. It was not yet clear that his actions were the result of anger or a deliberate plan.